Hey, Max here. So, been playing the tech test a little bit more, and a few of the issues, I will say, are part of starting top of, right? You saw my initial impressions video. We talked through a lot of that, and I was overall pretty positive. I went through some issues like the glitch around pars, and, I talked to Sebra, who's now on the, SDS team. He's like a communication person, so he's not like a dev or anything, but they are aware of the fact that the ball is going outside the par when you have perfect, so that's kind of solved. We'll see what they end up doing with the catcher framing and everything, but I don't think that's going to really change for good or worse. I don't know what you guys' opinion on that is, but a few more of the warts are coming into it, and I think the biggest one, in my opinion, has to do with batting, okay? And I think as it stands, a lot of people are not going to like the game, okay? We see this kind of feedback every year. The fact that, game sucks, I'm not rewarded, it's really hard balancing out a video game versus, say, a realistic baseball simulator, because, the meme around that's just baseball is true. Sometimes you do line out even though you smack the heck out of the ball. Isn't the fastest velocity hit of all time, is that a double play, grounded to second base? It is actually true. That's just baseball. But I think a lot of people, in a sense, want a consistent game where they get rewarded for doing good inputs. And so that's a hard thing to balance for SDS. And they've tried and done a fairly successful job of that this year. And I'm going to talk about the upsides and downsides here about that, right? The upside is fluke hits are a lot of times gone. You will still have some fluke hits. We had bad inputs or slightly off inputs and you get a hit. It's not nearly as bad as it has been in previous years, okay? Not even close. Probably better than ever before. Now, the issue is the reverse side of it, okay? The issue to me is now getting rewarded for your good inputs, because if you hit a perfect and it's an out, that doesn't feel good. Now, I don't know if there's a way they can guarantee a perfect is going to be a hit. I'm not even sure that's possible, is how baseball's coded, is what it is, but, with all the random shifts and whatnot. But, I want that percentage to be a hit as high as possible, right? I want good inputs to be good outputs. And a lot of people have started giving the feedback, and it's something I felt too. After day one, I played a game, a long game. I played against a game against good pitchers. Then I grinded out the moonshot a bit, and I felt like I was getting really rewarded for what I was doing. And then I started playing more games against top-end pitchers, and what I started to see is a little bit of my good inputs and good rewards are not being rewarded very well, right? So my good inputs, it feels like the exit velo is a little low. So my suggestion to make this game better, just raise it by 5 miles per hour and test it out. See that every single not just every single hit in the game, just up it by 5 miles per hour off the bat. I don't know what it'll do. Test it out. You can keep doing it, but that, in my opinion, that might just be the best solution, because a lot of perfect, especially at Yankee Stadium, I hit perfect fly balls, and these guys have 100 power. I think it is with Rutschman, 100 power. I'll take a look at his stats right here, and it's not going out of the park. Rutschman right now, and so these are the best cards we're gonna get all year. I think it was against the righty, so 116. Even if it's against a lefty, 100. That should be out of the park. A perfect, a fly ball. So that, I think, needs to be something that looks at. I think currently the exit velos are a little low, and I think that's part of the issue. Now, obviously, we don't want this game being nothing but home run or bust all the time. You want a variety of hits, and there's some reason line drives seem to find mitts a lot in this system they have implemented. Obviously, we're also using the best fielders we're gonna see all year. You can have Buxton out here in center field. Even Brian Reynolds' card, this card, 90 speed, 89 fielding. If you get him parallel one, he's at the 90 fielding, so he's got diamond shield and stuff. So obviously the outfield's going to be as small, and the elevation we're at too. And I think that's also a major problem with MLB The Show, is this game plays so drastically different from park to park, and they allow us custom parks with short fences and max walls. And then a lot of these parks that we have in the tech test are at sea level, so the ball doesn't carry. So when I say increase ball off the bat speed, but then if somebody's at a 5,200 elevation, then what is that going to do? Is that just going to make that ball fly out the park? So that's something the game is the game, and baseball is played differently at these different spots, and that's something we want to bring in. It makes it very hard for them to get good feedback about the game playing like the game, if we're all playing it at different locations. Some people are playing it in like terrible hitters parks, others playing it in great hitters parks. So a lot of this is tough to really say, but it all boils down to, like, they got rid of one half of our complaints, right? The fluke hits, or a lot of them. They haven't really fixed the other half of it, which is getting rewarded more, and with more exit velo, with more hits, with things in the gaps, the ones that don't just seem to always find fielders, like they always seem to be line drive, like right at a guy, or maybe those ones we want. But obviously they'll come out with their stats and say everything's working as intended, and we'll be very sad about it as a community. And I really hope they never say that ever again. That was so dumb when Ramon said that. So like, that's showing itself as far as gameplay, right? On to fielding a little bit. So like, the throw system right now, like, you do notice, like, in prior years, when it was pretty easy just to time up your throws and have it consistently out, you didn't really care about what animation took you to the ball to get that, because it was just getting completed and the guy was getting thrown out first. Now, slow animations, slow triggers, bad, like jumps or routes to the ball by like even diamond defenders, like they'll start slow. It actually kind of screws you a little bit, because instead of getting a good jump, setting your feet, throwing it, they have to throw it off balance, where in previous years that didn't really matter. This year it really does. So I think a lot of people are going to be frustrated by bad like off the bat reactions by some infielders, and it's going to make them make bad throws, and it's going to show itself as frustration in the community. So that's one thing, is like the fielding animations might actually kind of hurt us a little bit going down. But I think I am getting a little bit more used to the fielding. I really haven't had too many bad throws. I've had a couple from the outfield where I feel like I shouldn't have been given a bad throw alignment, but I was. I think another frustration with the game, and we'll see, of course, with more Diamond Dynasty on its way and what they talk about that, there's like no one big thing, right? And like I said, the Diamond Dynasty feature premiere might show it off. I mean, they talked about storylines and everything, but that's like kind of like offline grind about the history of the game, which is cool and all. But like, as an online player, that doesn't really interest me. Like if you look back like 2 years ago, the Stadium creator, insane, awesome adjustment. I know it took one guy like 4 years to do it, but you should really have 4 dudes working every year on something, and then give them 4 years to make it, and then you can have one big thing every year for your game. So I know they put a lot of time and effort into the storylines, but to me, that just seems something that like it's kind of like halftime shows in Madden. That's the kind of stuff I skip over to get back to the game. So I don't know. I'm a little unsold on that portion of their game too. But I said maybe Diamond Dynasty might solve a little bit. Obviously, there's one other point is, servers are a little finicky on the tech test, but that's the whole point of the tech test. So it's not really something I'm criticizing for. We'll see if their servers day one are responsive, as that's a lot of times they've had, many of their issues have popped up day one with servers. So we'll see, of course, going forward, if they actually are any good this year. So those are my big things. Again, it's exit velos and getting rewarded might be a little bit low. The animations and the fielders are a little punishing sometimes when they're bad starting off, even with diamond defense, where they should have better reactions. They kind of like get slow grounders, especially where they should be able to get to it, or medium ground balls. They'll really throw you off at times. And then, there's no one big thing that I really care about this year. So a lot of people, it's going to feel samey because it's still last gen. The hitting engine hasn't changed. A lot of things are still here. There's not truly a next gen game. They still are supporting the old gens on this exact same product. So we'll, of course, see how the game looks going forward on release. But I'll probably do another video with my final thoughts on that. But those are kind of like the warts that are popping up. I will see you guys later.